Well, the club's General Manager of Footy, David Noble, joins the live stream now. I have a number of Lions staff members around watching me, making sure I don't ask about specific trade targets. I'm under very direct instructions here on the live stream. So instead, let's talk about the season so far that's been, Nobes. 2018, what do you look back on this season as?
Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. Improvement, progression. I think we've moved forward, definitely. We would have liked a few more games. I think it was reward for effort for our players and our staff was probably something that we felt, Fags mentioned it a number of times about that nourishment, which you really needed. But I certainly feel, our percentage is a good indicator. I mean, internally we look at a lot of numbers. We've seen a lot of things move. I think the last 2 years, what we've seen in the bye, the second half of the year, we've progressed extremely well in the second halves of those years. So now what the trick to that, Dom, now is to do it at the start of the year and move forward. So the hard work's only just starting, and our players are really willing to roll up their sleeves and get stuck into it.
When you came into the club, you did set a bit of a 3-year list build strategy. Yep. Do you feel like you're getting close to the list that's going to take the club to its next premiership tilt? Is there still a lot of work to be done?
Yeah, there is. Look, we're getting to a point where the group will have some depth. It's going to have capacity to deal with injuries. It'll have capacity to deal with guys that are in and out of form. I think that's sort of what you need to do. And I think it's going to have flexibility to deal with the modern changes of the game as it's, the game plan as it unfolds. Fags' game plan's, simple, it's structured, it's not going to change, but I mean, he'll now, continue to tweak that. We think that we've got some really good educational pieces into that, but it's always, when you inherit a list, it's going to take you probably 2 or 3 trade periods to sort of get through it. We think we'll get through the remaining part of what our plan has been over the last couple of years through this trade period and the draft period. So, yeah, look, we're pretty excited about where we're positioned in the overall scheme of things.
There are a number of players who've been already in the media speculation for potential trades. Yep. Do you think if the players were right, you would be happy to, sacrifice a hand at the draft this year, or do you still really want to prioritise this year's draft as well?
I think you've got to remain flexible. I think the key to what we've tried to put in place is that we'll go after the ones that we think are going to help us, but we won't fall into the ones that just become available. I think if you don't do your work and you haven't got clear targets and you haven't got specific planning in place, it's very easy to come into a trade period when all of a sudden a name or a player gets thrown at you late, and you can tend to sort of fall into just doing something for the sake of doing it. Now, if the things and the plans that we have in place don't come to hand, we'll go back to the draft. That's pretty clear and pretty simple. We've really been encouraged this year with the progression of our guys, and I think, hats off to Scotty Borlace and his crew. They've done a great job on the development, and the second-year players particularly have done really well.
And just on the season itself, from your perspective, what was your highlight? Is there a moment that stands out to you as a highlight? Yeah,
the two that stand out to me, I reckon the Port Adelaide game. I thought our willingness to deal with adversity. We lost the skipper that day. Beamsy was unable to play, and we were able to go to a fairly hostile ground. I know that ground really well, and to be able to take on a Port Adelaide and a fairly, strong crowd. And I thought the other game for me that sits out was the 2 Hawthorn wins. I think it is a no-brainer. But the second half of the North Melbourne game, where we had 19 men, we held our own, we won the second half by a point. It showed a lot of character, and I love the way that our guys approached that second half.
And just very quickly, Nobes, we are heading into the silly season of player movement now. I'm sure all the fans are going to be following everything on social media, all the rumours for the next month or two. Yeah. What's your advice to surviving this season as a fan?
Don't believe everything you hear. No, look, it starts earlier and earlier each year, but we are active. We're in the marketplace. I think the thing for our fans is that we do have players that want to come to our club. That's really exciting. And look, we'll be active, but we'll make some really good decisions. We won't make any risky ones, and if we can get some things across the line, then we're willing to have a go at it.
Well, thanks for dropping by for a chat, and I know your work's just beginning for the next 2 months, so good luck with everything that's ahead.
No, and thanks for your support this year, mate. It's been great. And I hear you're back on next year.
Yes, the Raw deal renewed for 2019, which is great
Fantastic.
news.